All right, we are live. Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Nelly of Georgia Beer Reviews back at you today with a special live examination of porters. And joining me today is the one, the only, Michael Komaroff. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing fine. I'm in Brooklyn, New York, and it's the first official day of winter. So what better time to do a quickie examination of that wonderful beer style of porters, which are officially stouts, but they're different than stouts.
Right. Kind of like a lighter version of a stout. You got all the same ingredients, just a little bit lighter bodied and more sessionable.
Correct. I'm
All
pouring
right.
mine.
So what do you have today, Michael?
Okay, I have what's Founder's Porter. There's your bottle. 6.5% ABV, 45 IBUs, and it says dark, richer, sexy on the bottle.
Very nice. I've got the Creature Comforts Brewing Company out of Athens, Georgia. This is their Cocoa Bunny. It's a milk porter. It is also 6.5% alcohol, and it is brewed with cocoa nibs, toasted coconut, and coffee. And wow, it is very active. I didn't even pour it that aggressively, and it's got a 4.5 finger head on it.
Okay, this is my pour, which is pretty standard tan head, and the color is dark brown, but you can see through it. It's not opaque. You can see through it. So light can get through. So there's like red, maybe kind of like reddish highlights.
I would say the color on mine is pretty much identical. The lighting in my room is not too great right now, but there's definitely some ruby, hues going around the edge of the glass there.
And it's getting to very nice, like almost like a soapy head with like bubbles on the top. And you could see that it has very nice lacing and head retention at the top.
Right. Yeah, the head on mine is sticking around pretty nicely as well. And it's creamy beige head. So
what kind of nose are you getting on yours?
I'm getting some coffee first and foremost. That's the primary thing I'm getting. Then I'm getting some really like dark roasted barley malt action, a little bit of that chocolate. Almost like a milk, creamy type thing. It's really hard to describe, but milk does have an aroma, and there is milk in this, so
maybe you're smelling it a little bit.
I think I am picking up on it a little bit, but mostly coffee, but not a super bitter coffee. I'm getting, like some caramel as well on the nose, which is kind of going nice with that coffee. Sometimes the coffee is just like super in your face and bitter. This coffee it's there, but it's balanced. You're getting the dark roasted barley malt, and you're getting the sweetness. You know what I think it is? I think it's that coconut. I think I'm picking up on the coconut.
Okay.
It smells good. What about you?
Let me give my nose to you. The first thing you get is the kind of roasted malts that you get sometimes with these beers, kind of a roasty kind of vibe. And I'm not getting a specific, coffee or chocolate on this, but you're getting kind of like a dark fruit kind of feel to it a little bit.
That's interesting. Dark fruit.
But it's like a fig, almost like a fig or a prune a little bit. But it's more, that's probably a little bit more of a background taste. It's not a direct taste. Dark roasted malts are the lead taste that I'm getting, and it's fairly intense nose.
Yeah, mine is very in your face, but it's a very pleasant aroma. So let's go ahead and get into these things.
Cheers.
Cheers, Michael. Very good. The coffee is the first thing you're picking up on with this one. Leads into a nice medium, almost dark roasted barley malt, breadiness in the middle of the sip. It's a very creamy mouthfeel. And I think some of that is just because of the style, but I'm sure some of it is also coming from the lactose that's in here. The coconut is in there as well. You get a nice toasted coconut flavor, but it's not really the main thing you're getting. Like with the Death by Coconut Porter, that was the first thing you got with that one. This one's more in the background, but it's still there and it's very enjoyable. And the sweetness that you get from the coconut balances out the bitterness from the coffee. Carbonation is light.
Does it taste more like a session beer, or can you taste the 6.5%?
I'm not tasting the 6.5% at all, but the dark roasted barley malt is really, covering it up, I think. Darker beers like this, you have to really be, like 8% and up to taste any alcohol. 6.5% for a dark beer like this, not really getting any booziness. So yeah, you could drink a few of these, I think, no problem. The body is relatively light for the, considering all the dark roasted barley malt and all those, and the lactose and the coffee. It's relatively easy drinking and light bodied for the style. So what about you?
Is yours complex considering that everything is working together? All the different.
Yes, it really is. It's a cohesive beer. It's very, you don't really have to think about it too much. It's very smooth, sweet, and delicious. But you can decipher, you can break it down and pick out the individual components as well. So it's a great beer as a whole, but it's easy to break down and tell the different flavors apart from one another at the same time. So.
Now that mine is warming a little bit, I'm starting to get the coffee and the dark chocolate. So there are typical porter type characteristics in this Founders Porter. I didn't get it in my first sip, but now it's not warming to the point we've been here long, but it's warming even a little bit. And the coffee is the lead taste, but there's dark chocolate right behind it. And it's very pleasant. Goes down very easy. And mine is similar to yours. You can't taste any of the alcohol either because the different combinations cover it up. And if you were just saying this, you'd say it's more like a session because it goes down very easy.
Right. So we've got a few people watching. Trish over there at One Sip at a Time says, must have got off work early. Happy Friday. Well, sort of. I've got to work from home a little bit this afternoon, but taking a break. Brandon over at Craft Beer Pour says, cheers, sir. Cheers to you. Thanks for watching, Brandon. Bart Robinson, our good buddy Bart, is in the chat. He says, hey, everyone. Merry Christmas. And yes, happy Friday indeed. Happy Friday to you, Bart.
We haven't seen Bart in a while. He hasn't been coming on the Wednesdays for a while.
Right. Hadn't seen him in a while. Hope you're doing well, Bart. Good to hear from you. So, you noticed the porters? It seems a lot of porters now, and I don't think it's really, it's not a requirement for the style, but there are a lot of porters that have coffee added to them now. That seems to be a big trend with the style.
Yeah, I think that's true. I'm looking here. It doesn't look like there's any coffee added in mine. It's just something, it's a lead flavor probably based on, saying strong chocolate and caramel malt presence. Yeah. And I'm not getting caramel, but caramel malt doesn't always give you caramel back. It just gives you kind of a sweetness, and mine has a sweetness to it. But the sweetness that's here is countered by whatever hops they're using, and mine is very balanced too.
Right. Yeah, this is a really good porter. I think this is better than the one I had the other day, that pecan pie porter. That one was good, but it had a lot of flavoring added to it. The pecan pie flavor and it was a little sweeter. This one is a little bit more balanced and more of a traditional porter, other than the addition of coffee. But it's got that nice chocolate taste. It's a very creamy mouthfeel, and I'm a sucker for any beer that has toasted coconut in it. I mean, you know, I love toasted coconut, and I think
Right.
the sweetness and the flavors you get from the coconut just complement the dark roasted malt with the porters and the stouts really, really well. So I'm a huge fan of coconut in these types of beers. Um,
How does it compare with the Harpoon Dunkin' coffee porter that you tried?
I think it's a little bit better than that, but I mean, this is a little bit pricier as well. I mean, it was $12 for a 6-pack. So it's a little bit on the higher end as far as price point, and it is a local craft brewery. The Dunkin' Porter was very good, don't get me wrong, but this one is just taking it to that next level. Kind of
Right.
the flavors. A lot of the flavors that I got with the Dunkin' Porter are in this, but they're magnified, and I find that it's a little bit more balanced between the coffee and the chocolate and the other flavors that are in here versus the Dunkin' Porter was really coffee forward.
If I remember correctly about this one, it was $10 for the 6-pack, which I consider a competitive price for a Founders beer.
Right. I think Founder, yeah, $10 for a 6-pack of any Founders beers. I think that's a great value. Once you get up there to the barrel aged stuff, you're looking at $14, $15, and they only sell those in the 4-packs for whatever reason.
Or
So I
in
like
the huge bottles where you end up going on to an extra price level like the CBS, which is, $23 to $26. And all that is just 25.4 ounce bottle. It's not like it's a quart. So you're still, you're paying a lot per ounce, but it is a quality product. I know you've bought some of it. I have one.
if I have the patience to cellar mine or age it a little bit, maybe we could do a 2018 CBS examination in a couple years.
Sounds good. I plan on sitting on mine for a while, and I have enough other beer that I probably can do it. I mean, I have a lot of. I picked up a lot of stuff at that Stout Fest. Plus, I have other beers that I've bought in the last, couple of weeks too. And with the holidays coming on fast, maybe we can get together and do another Stout one as well in the next, before you leave for Alabama.
Yeah. Well, today is Friday, so I'll be here all weekend. So just let me know what your schedule's like. And
my situation is probably best in the morning. So if you're up like Sunday morning, like the time we did it with Jay at 10 o'clock in the morning, that'd be fine. Because while my wife's asleep, I can do what I want. So I mean, it makes it easier. She's meditating now. She's meditating, so it works out.
All right. Well, maybe we'll have a Sunday morning Stout examination.
It sounds good. Now I'm getting something now which I didn't get earlier. The 45 IBUs is starting to come through now. I'm getting kind of like a hop bitterness in this a little bit, but it's not something which is. It's something which also fits well with the different components. I actually like it. So you're getting some of the bitterness combined with the other tastes, and it's a positive taste. And I didn't get that at the beginning either. So it shows you the first couple of sips I had, this was kind of a different beer, and now as it's warming, it's becoming a better porter now as it's warming.
Right, and mine is getting a little bit more bitter on the finish as it's warming, which is not a bad thing. It's a very well-balanced beer, but a little bit of that bitterness is coming through more so now on the finish from the coffee. And I guess from the hops as well. They don't list IBUs on this. I wish I knew what they were, but I'm sure some of the bitterness is from the coffee and some is from the hops. But
now, would you say
that's another thing I noticed that a lot of breweries now, they don't even bother putting IBUs. They don't even list them on the labels anymore. And a lot of times they don't even mention them. If they do disclose the IBUs, you have to go to the website. And a lot of times the websites don't even disclose that information anymore. Bell's Brewery is a perfect example. The Christmas Ale I had the other day, I tried to look up the specs, and Bell's doesn't list the IBUs for any of their beers anymore. They used to, but they don't anymore.
Interesting. What I was going to ask you too is your coffee taste more cold brewed coffee or just straight coffee?
It's more cold brewed, I think. I see. It seems like I don't know, your normal brew, your hot brew, whatever you call it. It seems like that is a little bit more bitter up front, before you add the cream and sugar, whereas the cold brew is a little bit more mellow. I mean, that's just from my experience. I'm not a huge coffee drinker, but that's what I'm getting with the Cocoa Bunny Porter. It's more mellow, and the bitterness is more on the finish versus all the way through the sip, which is why I like it more than a lot of the other coffee porters and stouts that I've had, because that bitterness and that from the coffee doesn't take over your palate, and it's just kind of there at the end, instead of throughout the entire drinking process.
I think mine is similar to yours in that way. I didn't get the bitterness until we've been doing this for 10 whatever minutes. We've been doing it 15 minutes, whatever it is. And now the bitterness is more pronounced, but mine's probably in the finish as well. And it's not a bitterness that I dislike. It's a nice combination with the other taste.
Right.
Are you ready with a number for your?
I think so. Let me read these other couple of comments first. Bart says he's doing well. Thanks, guys. Glad to hear it, Bart. And Aldehydes is tuning in. He says, cheers, Johnny and Komaroff. Cheers to you as well, Aldehydes.
Happy everybody's watching.
So, hey, not bad for a Friday afternoon. Got viewers.
It's good.
So I think for a rating, it's in the A range. I'm trying to think of exactly what I want to give it. I think I'm going to go. Oh, it's better than the Dunkin' Porter, and I'm not quite sure what I gave that, but I'm just going to go with a solid A. It's 95 for me out of 100.
Okay.
And I know I give a lot of high ratings, but
okay.
I drink a lot of good beer, so
you have to give it what's fair, and that's it. I'm going to go 1 point higher than you would give mine a 96, which is bordering on world class. It may not be the best porter, but it's a very good example of a standard porter. And Founders, for the most part, has never really disappointed me. I mean, I think I did discuss one time they made this mango concoction, which was awful, and it ended up being a drain pour. And in my history, there have been very few drain pours where I couldn't take it, but it was called Mango Fantastico, and it was mango awful. It was bad. I mean, real bad. And again, like my friend Doug, who does some of these things with me, said, maybe it's a bad bottle. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe all of them are not that bad. Maybe it was not cared for well, whatever. But I don't think mango goes that well with beer anyway, because I've had it a couple of times in different beers, and it just doesn't seem to be a good component.
I like mango flavors in IPAs because a lot of the times the hops, depending on the hop varieties they're using, there might be a mango taste imparted from the hops. But when they actually add mango juice, I don't know. It can be kind of iffy.
This one was particularly bad because we first checked the nose out, and I said to Doug at the time, I said, Doug, if it tastes as bad as it smells, we're in deep trouble. And it was worse. I mean, it was really bad. And so when a beer has to be poured, I know Jay has done it a couple of times, but it's in very few that in the beers he's reviewed. It's almost like, you almost feel bad because how could it be that bad? But it was bad. Right. But again, mangoes, I'd be afraid of it. Now, blueberries in beer I've had good luck with, but some people think that, flavored beers are not beer. I mean, I'm sure you've heard people discuss it that way.
Oh,
it's almost like they can't understand the combination.
That's why I think you would have absolutely loved the Bourbon County Stout that I had, the 2017 edition, with the blueberry puree and the almond extract added. That was.
I think I would have.
Perfect score.
I think I would have liked that. I really think I would have. It's funny. I have only so far, and they're obviously still available if I'm lucky enough to find it, bought the standard Bourbon County Stout, and I haven't actually seen any of the variants when I've gone around. Food Coop only has that one. Whole Foods supposedly had the one that I tasted, the orange, was called Orange Midnight or something like
Oh,
that.
the Midnight Orange. Yeah, that's the
Midnight
one.
Orange. I had that. And like I said, I didn't find it to be amazing. I thought it was okay, but at $23 a bottle, I was underwhelmed. And the only one that
You said it didn't even taste like orange. It tasted more like cherries than orange.
That's what it tasted like to me. But again, when you're doing a blind test, if you told me the name of it was Midnight Orange, maybe I would have been looking for the orange taste. When it's totally blind, you have to go what your taste buds tell you. And to me, it tasted more like cherry. And it's got the same base beer. So the beer, it's good. It's just that flavor just didn't seem to feel that great to me. Now, anything, I still gave it an A. It just, in the numbers, we're considering giving 98s and 99s to the base beer, and you have to give the variant a 94. It's a downer. I mean, to me, it wasn't that good. But I mean, it's me.
Right.
Some people really liked it.
One thing I'll say about the porters here, real quick, is, I gave mine a 95, which is excellent. It's a solid A. But I think I would have liked it better. I think I would have given it even a higher score if maybe it didn't have the coffee in it. I've had so many beers that have coffee in it lately, and coffee's great, and I like coffee in my beer, but I think I like the traditional porters, like the one you had, the Founders Porter. I think I would enjoy that one a little bit more because that's more of a traditional porter, and it doesn't have the additives. I do like the coconut in there, but if a porter is well made, you're gonna get the sweetness from the malt, and you don't need to add they actually added chocolate in this, added cocoa nibs and coffee and toasted coconut. But a good porter on its own will give you all that caramel sweetness. It'll give you that chocolate note from the dark roasted malt. So you don't need to add those flavors. And I think I like the traditional porters, the few traditional porters that I've had, including the Founders. I think I like those a little bit better than the ones that have the additives. Not that they're bad, but I think I like the traditional ones better.
Well, I think your company is trying to give you a spin on porters by adding those elements in to see what kind of flavors they can create. Because I'm sure there are some of those same roasty malts in there too, but maybe with the extra additives, they put less of those in, hoping that the tastes combine well. And you said they did, but you're saying that maybe there was too much coffee in there.
Right. I mean, it's not too much. It is well balanced, and the coffee is not overpowering. But I think I would have liked it even more if they didn't put the coffee in there, because then the roasted barley malt would have been able to shine a little bit more, and it would have been a little bit more traditional. And I think I would have liked it a little bit more.
Right. Well, mine, I think you could say that Founders is one of the most traditional type porters, the closest to the English porter style. Because that porters, by the way, if you need a little history on it, it was named after the porters in England who carried your bags. This was the type of beer that they supposedly liked. And in those days, I think they were probably brewing stuff more in the session range. The beers then were probably closer to 5% because you didn't want to have somebody carrying the bags and falling over in the station. So they were probably more under control. And it's named after the porters who loaded the bags onto the train.
The more you know, people, the more you know.
I know Jay fills you in with his facts. This is just one fact that I know. And there's a woman on the label. I don't know who she is. It might be Founders, one of their people who posed for this picture of, looks like a woman from England who, I don't know.
She's wearing dark clothing. She looks rich and she's sexy, right? That's what
they say. Dark, rich, and sexy. And that's obviously the people who do their advertising think that's effective. And I didn't mention before, Grand Rapids, Michigan is where the beer is from. Yours is from Athens, Georgia.
Right.
Michigan seems to be a big brewing center, if you think about it, with Bell's and with this. And there's one called, there's a lot of breweries in Michigan. I'm trying to think, there's a sour brewery, Jolly Pumpkin is in Michigan as well. Brews mostly
Michigan is a good state. Like Georgia has a ton of craft breweries, like the one I'm drinking now. But a lot of the craft breweries in my area are lesser known. Michigan, Founders and Bell's are perfect examples. Those are two of the most well-known craft breweries, across the country.
Right.
Whereas the distribution for the the craft breweries here is not as good as Founders and Bell's. They have nationwide distribution. So
right. The other big state is California that has Sierra Nevada and Firestone Walker. There's a whole bunch of ones that have
Lagunitas is nationwide distribution.
Lagunitas also. So there's a lot in California. But again, you have your population out there where even if it doesn't get shipped, I'm sure a lot of all those companies stays in California too.
Right. All right. Well,
what are your final thoughts on Creature Comfort?
Oh, I think I think this is a great beer. I need to try some more of their products. They make a lot of IPAs, and they brew, I think, the equivalent of New England IPAs. This company brews a lot of New England style IPAs, so I'd be excited to try some of those because I don't really get too many of those beers out here. I did finally find the Samuel Adams New England IPA, so I'm going to try that soon. I really like all the craft, the local craft breweries that I've tried out here in Georgia. I really have enjoyed. There's so many to choose from, and my thoughts on the Creature Comforts Cocoa Bunny Milk Porter is that it's excellent, and I would like to try. I would hope that maybe they would make another porter, just more of a traditional porter, so I could see how that one stacks up to this one. But I'm very happy with this porter. So,
well, I've had the Founders Porter on multiple occasions, and I do really like it. And I would obviously buy it again. And I guess I'm probably more like you, more prone to the straight porter style than the additives. But I would try a beer with the additives because if nothing else, it gives you a different wrinkle on production. There's nothing wrong with it. It's it's different.
Right. So let's see. Aldehyde says John likes hop-heavy beers with little malt. Switch that around, Aldehyde. That's typically the way I go. All right, but let's see. I guess we'll wrap this examination up. I think we both like the style. Porters are a great style. I like to drink them year-round. I'm sure you do as well, but they're particularly great this time of year when the weather's a little bit cooler and you want something a little bit more with a little bit more sustenance to it. This is a great style to go for. A little bit more sessionable than a stout typically, but you get all those same roasty, toasty, flavors with the chocolate and the other caramel sweetness, that type of thing. You get all the good flavors of a stout, but a little bit lighter bodied and more sessionable. So any final comments from you, Michael?
I like the porter style as well. And when you don't want to handle an 11 or 12% stout, the chance for a 6.5% one to still give you a similar feel in the taste. You can have a couple of these without, falling off your chair. So it's a lot nicer in turn. And they're sippers too. I mean, even if they do go down easily, you can still sip these because they have really nice taste.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. We still have 5 viewers watching right now. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Bart, it was especially nice hearing from you. Hope you're doing well, you said. So we'll be looking for you on some of these future examinations. Thanks to Aldehydes, Trish, Brandon, Craft Beer Pours. Appreciate all you guys watching. Hope you're all having a great day. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Everybody enjoy your Christmas.
That's right. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody. And until next time, cheers, everybody.
Drink good beer.